Здравейте от хотел Хилтън в София, вече реновиран. Не бях идвал тук от доста време, но изглеждат много добре нещата, където се провежда първото по рода си събитие в България на толкова високо ниво, свързано с авиационната индустрия. Aviation Event Sofia на 29 ноември събра лидери наистина в световната авиационна индустрия тук в София за конференция по теми, които обхващат практически всичките аспекти на тази индустрия. Като започнем от летищата, тъй като Летище София и SOF Connect са любезните домакини на тази конференция. Минем през авиокомпаниите и техните възможности и намерения за развитие на мрежите им. След това преминем през компаниите за поддръжка, ремонт, поддръжка и ремонт на самолети, МРО компаниите, и стигнем до хелинг операторите и агенциите по наземно обслужване. Всичко това беше покрито на тази конференция, от която ние ще ви покажем част и ще ви направим съпричастни към цялостната атмосфера. Останете с нас. Да, по стечение на обстоятелствата, аз съм и водещия на тази конференция, Aviation Event Sofia на 29 ноември, и точно за това обяснявам, имам и микрофон и съм толкова укабелен. Внимателно, Силвия тук се обикаля, опитваме да се направим 360 или Bullet Time, както в Матрицата, ама няма да ни се получи днес. И преди да ви се завие свят, гледайте следващите минути Авиошоу и нашето представяне в тази конференция. The news has just been dropped that SETA has signed a contract with Sofia Airport to develop its digital solutions for the future.
Yes.
Just please reiterate on that contract. What will it encompass? What kind of technologies? For how long? How long it will take to transform Sofia Airport into an airport of the future with its ambition to become a 5-star regional airport?
So the core of the solution is called Airport Management System. It's the global orchestrator of the airport that allows the airport to operate effectively, to allocate the stands in an intelligent way, to manage the flow of the passengers, to manage as well the air side and the land side of the airport. We do intend to increase the productivity, the effectiveness, but also to reduce, for instance, carbon emissions by reducing the taxi time for the flights. Also to improve the passenger experience so that queues are minimized and people have a seamless passenger experience. So we aim to deliver a project that will go live in 2026, and so we have a lot of work ahead of us, but leveraging this technology, Sofia Airport will become probably one of the leaders in terms of passenger experience.
What is the cost of this project, if it's not a secret?
Unfortunately, we cannot share this kind of information. We went through a formal tender, a European tender against many other competitors, and we have been fortunate and I hope good in a way that Sofia selected SETA among many other competitors.
You mentioned passenger experience. Can you reiterate a little bit more detail about how this will impact the passenger experience? It's going to straightforward the process of, I guess, checking, boarding the aircraft and everything in between.
Yes, every touch point of the passenger should be optimized. So basically, when I arrive to the airport, I need to put my luggage. We want to have self-service backdrops that would allow a seamless passenger experience when leaving the luggage. When I go through the security, when I print my boarding pass, before the boarding, if I have to cross the police control, all of these touch points over time should be digitalized, and we want to have an experience where my face becomes my boarding pass, my mobile phone is the remote controller of the flight, so I have all the information I need on my smartphone, and basically I can spend more time drinking a good coffee instead of queuing in the airport.
Okay, what are you saying is involving the airlines as well? How far ahead are the airlines in the process of integrating their own legacy systems, because many airlines still operate electronic ticketing systems and very legacy systems from the past, into your newest solution that is going to be implemented here in Sofia?
This is the key advantage of SITA, because we are putting together airlines, governments, and airports. So we serve airlines, we create and deliver solutions for airlines, for government, for border management, and to airports, okay? So we are going to facilitate that integration, but you are right, this is an element of difficulty because the level of maturity of the different airlines are different, and the scope, the objective is to bring all of the airlines to the target operating model in order to have a seamless passenger experience wherever I want to go or wherever I come from when I am in Sofia.
How easy it will be for the airlines that are operating, for example, your competitors' platforms, to interoperate onto the SITA platform as well, which will be managing Sofia Airport, because that's really important.
Yeah, again, we have all the connectors that are needed. We are used to do these kind of things. You know, just to take an example, we serve JFK Airport in New York, we serve Singapore, we serve all the airports, and the difficulties are very similar. And so we are, you know, easily making this possible because we have done that many, many times.
Is there a possibility to upscale your solution in the future?
Absolutely, we are heavily investing in our solutions, and artificial intelligence technologies, computer vision technologies are bringing a lot of new capabilities to the systems, and therefore this is just the beginning of a longer journey.
Really great news that the contract between Sofia Airport and SITA is already signed. Just reiterate a little bit more about this contract. What will it encompass and how will it affect the future transformation plans for the airport?
This is a key piece in our strategy because we are completely digitalizing the airport. But the backbone of all the digital solutions that we are bringing is the airport management system. So the rest of the system that we are implementing, they are all of them connected to the airport management system. So that's why we wanted to bring the leader in aviation sector to bring the best expertise here. And this is very important because this is the backbone of the system in an airport. And then because more is to come, we are already implementing the NEO PRM system, the NEO ERP system, a NEO artificial intelligence system in security, in commercial areas. The new duty-free shop, for example, is a digital shop. I mean, we are already mapping the passenger flow, but everything is coming to the airport management system. So we need to have the best expertise there. So that's why this announcement is good, because we started this project. We started 2 years ago to select. We launched the tender, prepare the tender documentation to implement the solution that we are looking for to reach the efficiency that we are looking for, because you know that every time I'm repeating the same, we want to be efficient, because this is linked with our connectivity, this is linked also with our passenger experience, and then more things that are coming like e-gates, the new security lanes that we are implementing, all this passenger journey, they are connected to the airport management system.
Yeah, this will facilitate airport operations, that's for sure. But what is the opinion of the airlines, which are your other clients? How will they reintegrate with their legacy systems that they still operate, because not everybody is connected to SITA? in this transition, and will you require from them as airlines to invest into newer systems in order to be compliant with what you're building at the airport?
First of all, SITA is the more common system all around all the airports. I mean, all the airports, they are already using SITA one way or another. Yeah. But there are airlines that are using their own project, their own system. No? You have airlines, low-cost airlines that are using their own system. But our airport management system is allowing all the airlines to use their own system. But then the SITA, what is doing is connecting the airline system to our system. So this is that's why we are also already signed a contract with the master system integrator, with the airport gurus, who is doing this integration with all the system, from the airline system to our airport management system, to all the other tenant system to our airport management system. So we are integrating all of them.
So it will serve as a gateway.
Yep.
В следващите минути ще ви покажем избрани моменти от най-интересните панели по време на конференцията. Няма да ги преразказвам, защото няма как да обхвана всичко, което изговориха участниците в тези панели. След това пък ще разговарям, може би, с един от най-интересните модератори, който има огромен опит в управлението на различни летища. Бил е член на управителния съвет на летище Мюнхен, реално го е управлявал, след което консултира редица други летища в Европа, а в момента е в надзорния съвет на летища като Талин, Фиумичино в Рим и Хановер, също в Германия. Той се казва Майкъл Керклок, но след краткото обобщение от това, което се случи по време на конференцията.
We know it. We have bilateral air service agreements which are allowed to land, but we are talking now about overflight. Overflight, 188 states signed the transit agreement. That's the first and second liberties of flying over and landing. Bulgaria signed it in September of 1970, Russia 1960, China 1947, Poland 1945, and Germany 1956. I mention that because long before, before the Cold War became rough, we had those overflights, and Russia was very happy about these overflights because they were extremely expensive, which is also against the national standard, but that was a big business and there wasn't a problem. We know what the problem right now is since the war for Ukraine. Countries prohibit their airlines, their aircraft to fly over certain countries.
Tallinn Airport, located in the northern part of Europe. Our catchment area is actually quite small, like about 1 million passengers, and this year we are making about 3.5 million, and we are exceeding about 6% 2019 level.
That's not small for a country which only has 1.8 million or 1.2 million inhabitants.
Yeah, it's always question how you compare it. With Istanbul, I think we are tiny. If you are small, then you can pay much more attention on these small details, and the small details in the end make you cozy. So when you're growing, then it's probably getting more complicated. But about capacity, I would say that our terminal right now is designed for 2.8 million passengers. With you this year 3.4. I didn't raise a hand when you asked that did we have a capacity problem this year, because okay, it's always a question what is the problem, define the problem, but I think in the end we managed. But we expect about 5 million passengers by 2030, which means that we need to expand our terminal as well, and we start doing it next year already.
The idea Bologna Airport is in northern part of Italy, northeast part of Italy. Catchment area is around 11 million people, so it's way beyond the region of Emilia-Romagna, which Bologna is the capital. This year, actually, a few days ago, we just reached 10 million passenger threshold for the first time in history, because the market has been really booming over the last 2-3 years after the COVID. Italy has been shown by Morgan Fuchs, together with Spain, one of the two markets where growth came back not just on international, but also on domestic. And this is also due to the fact that probably the size and the shape of the country is so that connecting south to north and north to south, you can do only by plane.
No problem. And if you're talking about the terminals, I think what we're seeing is the growth. Just even if we say with movements stable, we've seen a growth in aircraft over the past few years. From, if you take the A319 example, to 320 to 321, that's with one movement, you all of a sudden have 130% more passengers, because also the average load has increased. I mean, if we're speaking of long years back, we used to have 80, 90 passengers per flight. Now Hamburg is at 120, 130. So on the same space, you've got 50% more passengers waiting for check-in, for security at the gate, for food and things like that. So I think these are the challenges we have ongoing, and they can come as a surprise. And I think the big challenge there is, in my eyes, to get more and more seamless operations, more and more automation, more and more machine work. So be that with check-in, we've seen what you're doing here, to go to a seamless way of having check-in with multiple use and use for all airlines on one system. I think that's going to be a big challenge, and not every airline has its own system, so we control it in the airport. Automation in security, I think that's an issue. We all know it's a hassle for everybody. That will have to be more automated. Boarding is going to be automated. And one issue which I think to me is one of the biggest challenges we've all got is that if you take ground handling, especially on non-hub airports, that's still manual, and that's going to be manual for very, very, very long, because every new aircraft coming, especially for smaller non-hub airports, which are non-container, which don't have containers, that's by hand in and out.
But I think the key area is that from a terminal point of view, we'll take the capacity. There's going to be self-service. And you're going to see biometrics accelerating today across the world. Then you'll see the digital travel credential for the international passengers to be able to travel with just their face. And then baggage automation, which is below the wing, and that communication. So they're the key areas I see coming forward. And there's two sides to that. You're going to have your capital expense to do the terminal expansion. But if you can increase the passenger flow by 25% by using self-service biometrics and those things without expansion of that terminal, then the funds from that $360 million. So I think there's a balance between the physical asset growth and the technical / data asset growth at the airport. And that's where you'll be trading off the value of your capital expense into the technologies coming down the road.
We've always been proud that the aviation is an industry that finances itself, and I think that's something we need to keep up and running compared to other modes of transport. That's one thing. The other thing is that if you look now at airports, and Morgan showed the numbers before, in COVID, the debt number of airports has increased. That debt needs to be repaid, and at the same time you need to invest into new things. I mean, if we go into IT, and I agree with you, I think that's certainly one way to do it short term at a cost. And then obviously the airports are faced with increases. They have to go to their customers, which in that case is then the airline and the airport and the passenger. And what we're of course seeing from an airline's point of view, the only operational cost at an airport they can really discuss is the process you just mentioned about airport charges. So that's where they play it. On ATC, they've got nothing to say. On security, at least in Germany, they've got nothing to say. So obviously they play it on airport charges, which is not really fair, because the airports have also costs which have increased. And if we take the example of Germany, the wages per employee, they've increased by about 20% in the last 3 or 4 years. I mean, that's something which you just don't do away with. So I think it's also a question of fairness to keep the balance. The airports need to get this refinancing to be able to provide the service, which on the other side, the airlines, of course, request.
Michael, you'll be serving the boards of a lot of airports, so you have huge experience. But my first question is going to be about Sofia. What do you think about the project for new Terminal 3 and the expansion of Sofia Airport?
Well, it's a very, very good step. and to the next stage this airport has to achieve. Yeah? Bulgaria, when you look at it on the European map, is in the end becomes much more important in the European Union. So the exposure also has to be better, and an airport is always a manifestation of where this country is. So it's the gateway, and in the end also a business card for Bulgaria. And I really appreciate the work of Sofia's management that they're going to make the next step, which is necessary, by the way.
Do you see any advantages compared to other airports of similar size, or for that matter, any shortcomings?
Well, in the end, it's always a matter of how you see the future, and probably the future for Sofia Airport, for the region, for the capital, for Bulgaria, is bright. Yeah, it takes some time, but Bulgaria's growth will always be above average the European Union. And in the end, it's also a growth statement. Yeah? This, which will then also attract growth of other industries. So it's, in the end, a very, very basic investment, and I think they do the right thing.
A lot has been said about the future of airports. A lot of airports are struggling, especially the smaller ones, all around the world, but especially in Europe, where there is a huge demand, lack of supply on part of the airlines and other suppliers. But at the same time, there are huge projects in the airport industry, the likes of Istanbul, the likes of all the Middle Eastern airports, which want to turn themselves into entertainment hubs and entertainment centers rather than airports. Is that the way to go forward, or the future rather belongs to the smaller airports with efficient and hassle-free experience for the passengers?
Well, in the end, most of the airports are small and or medium-sized, so they have to perform in the basic functions that they are required to. So it's access to the region. It's also for the region the gateway to the world. And everybody expects that the demand will rise. Obviously more for private VFR reasons than for business. But one thing is sure, demand will rise. So it's good to do then the necessary investments in infrastructure, because that helps. Which is not always which is not always easy, because of course the whole public debate you have, you need to safeguard the financial resources that you need for this expansion. But in the end, always it's a good and basic investment for the region. That's for sure. The other big hubs like Istanbul or Zurich or whatever, Munich, Paris, they're in another league. I mean, that's Airport Champions League. So they do have other issues. They also have other resources. But they also have to cope with congestions, with more unsatisfied passengers. But these passengers are so diverse. The whole world are present every day at these airports, so they try to get a USP of this airport, especially hub airports, when you transfer, because transfer traffic is a different segment from O&D traffic. To please the transfer passenger, to in the end also have a marketing position to attract people to this specific airport, to become a transfer passenger, that requires special offers in the end, which then also happens. So they rather concentrate on a different market segment than medium-sized and small airports.
But this is also the biggest bottleneck. Even Munich, for example, they wanted to cut short the transfer times back to like something like 30 minutes, 40 minutes.
We had 30 minutes, but now it's 45. Yeah. You have to give more time, because procedures are in the end complicated. You have, of course, safety regulations, security regulations, and in the end, also see the distances that sometimes you have to cover at big airports. I might look at Istanbul. It can be 30 minutes that you have to find your gate from your arriving gate.
It takes longer than the whole flight from Sofia to Istanbul to orient yourself at the airport.
So maybe there's an optimum of a size of a very good functioning hassle-free airport.